Police say that 70-year-old William Haynes shot and killed his 85-year-old wife, Jeanette Beecraft. Haynes went professionally by Billy Jack Haynes. The shooting happened inside a home on Southeast 100th Avenue in the Lentz neighborhood, and we first told you about the shooting on Thursday. It led to an hours-long standoff with police.
Mr. Wade here and Mrs. Crime. Today's adventure. Now, let me tell you about it. What can you say that's 6'3", 245 plus pounds? Our story is on someone that's 6'3", 245 plus pounds. A famous guy. If you hadn't already did it, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and click that like button. Stay tuned. This is an unfortunate story, and you're going to love what I got coming for you.
Dementia. We spoke with people who lived near the couple. They say they were shocked to hear what he's accused of, and that he used to be a beloved neighbor.
Now, what brings us out here is a husband and a wife, of course, and a situation took place, and an unfortunate story happened out of this. It transpired out of this particular event. Like I said, we're out here in, I would say this is Oregon, of course, but we're at a cemetery called Lincoln Memorial. Now, me and Mrs. Crime have been out here before, numerous times. And a lot of stories has brought us back here. And now I'm here, Mr. Wade, to give you another unfortunate story. Stay tuned. Mr. Wade here. Now, I'm looking for the headstone. Now, it doesn't say where this person's at, but I saw an area that had her ex-husband and had her son, whom she loved a lot. And there was a new plantation that was built next to this actual headstone, which I try to pinpoint, and I've been going around in circles. You know, Mr. Wade's about bad about finding graves, but I've been looking. So let me break it down to my story about a 6'3" individual, 245 maybe plus pounds, bustle and fit. Who am I talking about? I'll post the name right up here because I'm bad with names. Now check me out. This guy here was big time. He started wrestling in 1982. Yes, professional wrestler. He's from Portland, Oregon. He went out, expanded to WWE, WWF, and he went to United US one, that broadband, the Latina wrestling, as well as American over here in Vancouver, Washington. Also, he is known to have had TV battles against Randy Savage, Macho Man. He has been against numerous others. I'll post the names up here. He has been around. I don't know if he's in that WWF cartoon I used to watch back in the day, but something else. Now, he was also in the World Wrestling Federation WrestleMania 3. Now, his battle was against Hercules. They had the battle of the full Nelson behind the head move. I'm not sure. I forgot what the name. Might be Full Nelson, but they were definitely in the battle of who can do that the best. That was back in the day. I remember actually going to the WWF WrestleMania 3 with one of my uncles. He passed as well some years back. Wow. Now, what he did was he was a pro wrestler, and he was friends with the lady of question that he was stated to have murdered in the house. Now, let me break it down. Now, he was best friends with this guy, right? So, he ended up dying some years later as they got grown and he became famous, whatever. His friend died. Well, somehow he ended up marrying his mom. I don't know if he was staking out to figure, hey, when I get old enough and when she gets available, I'm going to jump on it. I don't know what he did, but he ended up marrying his best friend's mom. As time went on with his wife, who I was coming here to see, give respect from Tombstone Whispers, me and Mrs. Crime, but of course I could not find it. And I feel bad, but I hope I got enough information here. I'll show the proximity where I think her grave was at, and I'll find a grave photo as well of where I thought I could find it, but there's no exact location pinpoint. So, wow. He wrestled for quite some time, and he got hurt, of course. He ended up marrying another wrestler, pro wrestler. I'm going to put her name up here as well. She was famous as well. She was from England. Now, she was married to another wrestler before him, and she got married to the guy in question. She got married to him up until late 80s, I think it was. Don't pinpoint me on that. I'll put the date up here, and I'm bad about dates and names, and of course, finding graves. But anyways, definitely he got married to her. She married him because she wanted to stay in the States. She didn't want to get deported, so she married him. She was a model as well. She was big time in the Wrestling Federation as well. He was in his 70s. She was in her 80s. Okay. Wow. Not much of a big gap, right? But police came to the home of where he was now living. Now, he went through a whole battle of trying to sue, trying to get a thing together with a bunch of other wrestlers to sue about being brain damaged from wrestling and other things as well. But the court ended up falling through. They didn't get their way, and the court just brushed it off. Even the Supreme Court didn't even just left it alone. I think in 2021, they brushed it off. They didn't give the wrestlers any kind of respect of saying, hey, you guys put in work, you guys this and that, those and these. But they were saying they knew what they were getting into as a pro wrestler, and this is what happens. And now you want to come back and say, hey, because of my injuries, I am due this and do that. Maybe so. I don't know. Neighbors complain about shots being fired. They come to the house. They have a 2.5 hour standoff with this guy. Over here in Portland, he did not want to come out the house. He had a weapon, of course. 2.5 hour standoff. They ended up calling the SWAT team, ended up calling their SART team. Everybody came out to actually try to get this individual out the house. Well, they ended up getting him out the house, and they found his wife in another room, dead. One shot. So he claimed he was hurt, so they took him straight to the ER, took him to the hospital, and he was under investigation because of his wife being dead in one of the rooms in the house. This is when all the neighbors get involved. They saying they've been talking to this couple for a while. They were saying that the missus that was found, her name is up here, of course, that she had problems with dementia. She was losing her mind, I guess. And husband, the pro wrestler, he was having, been in the hospital numerous times as well. A lot was going on, but they thought they were a sweet couple, Wow. But he returned back to Portland in the year of 1988 from wrestling. Now, prior to getting to the WWF, WWE, they were saying that he might have had a jail stint. He might have been in jail for numerous occasions of manslaughter. So they saying that he had a record prior to becoming a professional wrestler, and that's what maybe they trying to lean on as far as giving him the actual saying, hey, you killed your wife. And what other proof do they have? I mean, you're in a house, you don't want to come out, they heard a gunshot, so put 2 and 2 together, you don't get 5, you get 4. So obviously, he did it. That's what my assumption is. Did somebody else come into the house, or did she suicide? Did she shoot herself because she was losing her mind? Can't blame that. He had a gun, he didn't want to come out. Now, if he didn't do it, he wouldn't have been barricaded in the house for 2.5 hours, right? No, he wouldn't. Basically, they trying to say that, hey, he had brain damage. That's what he was saying. So he went to the hospital, of course, and he ended up getting arrested at the time of leaving the house, and also after he left the hospital. So, I haven't seen the outcome on the case, but I do know that with research, I'm thinking he probably did. In my assumption, I could be wrong. To all the friends and family, I'm not assuming. I'm assuming. But that was a story on this professional wrestler that's from Portland, Oregon, and became big time at one point, and ended up becoming back to Portland, trying to still keep up with the Joneses and still wrestle, and became hurt and had to retire. But the story of him and his wife, that was a big thing out here. I ran across that. So Mr. Wade drove out here to come see this. Wow. I hope you guys enjoy this totally unfortunate story of a professional wrestler and his wife. A lot more coming from Tombstone Whispers out here at Lincoln Memorial Cemetery. I'm Mr. Wade and Mrs. Crime. Stay tuned for a lot more from Tombstone Whispers.